You can't heal your past unless you feel your past. The unfortunate truth is there are too many people out there who are holding on to a pain that they experienced in the past. And this is for decades upon decades upon decades. And the truth is, we are entrepreneurs. I work with entrepreneurs all the time. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, you're working with people on a daily basis. And holding on to that pain for decades instead of actually just facing it and actually feeling it is very detrimental for you. Um, I work with entrepreneurs all the time, and this is something that I never thought that I would do. I never thought that I would actually help people with their past traumas and pain. I set out to be a consultant. I wanted to help people with their businesses. I wanted to bring their ideas to life. I wanted to help them with their startups. I wanted to help them grow their business. But really early on in my coaching practice, I realized that there was so much trauma and pain that people are holding on to that was completely working as a block in helping their business grow. So if that's what you're going through right now, you're feeling that there's some sort of block and you can't actually go out there and to do the things that you really want to do, I'm going to ask you this question. Maybe there's a pain that is inside of you that you really need to heal right now. And the good news is that I do have tools and solutions to help you get there because I've helped my clients go through some of these steps, and I want to share it with you guys too because I think it's so incredibly important. There's nothing worse than holding on to a pain from the past, and it really just it crushes our spirits and it actually hinders us from actually going forward in our life. So I want to share this with you today. So the first thing to do is what I said to begin with is that you can't heal your past until you feel your past. So whatever it is that you're going through right now, it could be something as little as that your dad did not pick you up at the bus stop when you were 6 years old and you're still holding on to that. And you're not actually dealing with it. You're just saying, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm just going to replace this with something else. Things are great. Everything is wonderful. And the problem with not actually facing your past and feeling the pain is actually fuels a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Destructive behavior, like gambling, like eating disorders, like addiction, all sorts of things. So really just facing it head on. So I want you, whatever trauma that you're experiencing, and it doesn't have to be something that traumatic. Like I said, it could be that your dad did not pick you up at the bus stop when you were 6 years old, and now you're traumatized and you feel like you can't rely on anybody. I want you to go to an empty room or a quiet space and really just feel all the emotions of that moment. Like just feel it fully. Like I said to you before, you can't heal the past unless you feel the past. So sit there and just cry it out, get angry, whatever it is that you need to do, just do it. And I'm going to tell you this. From my experience, this is what I have seen. Feeling of sadness, and when you actually really feel the feeling of sadness, it lasts a few minutes. And the anger, frustration, and like deep, deep resentment, if you really feel it, it lasts 15 minutes. That's it. So you have to ask yourself this question. Am I willing to live decades with this pain by not actually facing it when it's only going to take me 15 minutes to actually face it and release it completely? I'm talking about like actually really, really feeling it. The society that we live in right now is so messed up, that we're not allowed to feel certain emotions. So what do? We suppress it. We suppress it. We suppress it. And it comes out and manifests itself in the worst ways. We end up hurting other people. We end up not creating from our heart. We're always like thinking in our heads because we're afraid that people are going to abandon us, or we feel like just all sorts of things. And I think, let's just stop it. Let's just stop with all this nonsense and just really just feel it. And don't think that your trauma is not as big as someone else's. Maybe yours, like I said to you before, is that your dad did not pick you up at the bus stop when you were 6 years old. And someone else's trauma is that they were raped by multiple family members. doesn't make a difference. The difference is that trauma is trauma. And you have to deal with it and really just feel it, cry it out, get angry, do whatever it is that you need to do just to face it. So that's number one. Feel it fully, like full on feel it. Be an ugly crier, get angry, throw shit around. I don't care. Do whatever it is that you need to do to actually feel it. The second one is a really, really difficult one, is to actually forgive. This is a really difficult thing to do. If someone did really terrible things to you, it's hard to forgive. And it's even harder to forgive if that person is you. That's really hard to do. I think when you feel like you have done a lot of bad things in the past, and actually I'm going to give you an example right now, is I run a course, online training series called The School of Life. And last night was incredibly powerful. Every session that we have is just incredibly powerful. And one of the guys in there is so incredibly special. Everyone is really special in their own unique way. And he is so incredibly special. He has this beautiful gift that he needs to share with the world. And I said it to him, I was like, look, you are such a special human being. I see such beauty and light in you, and I want you to share he's an artist. I was like, I want you to share your art with the world. And he told me that, it's, and I've said this to him many times, like, this is not the first time I've said this to him. I've said this to him because I've known him for quite some time now. And he's like, he's like, it's great that you say that. And I see a lot of people say the same thing to me, but I don't believe it. And the reason why he doesn't believe it is because he has done bad things in the past. So ultimately what he needs to do is forgive himself for doing bad things in the past, because anything that you guys have done in the past is in the past. You're much bigger than your past. You are right now and you're going forward. So it breaks my heart when people have a hard time accepting the fact that they are wonderful and beautiful and they are holding on to something in the past. So anyway, to bring it around and to the forgiveness part, it's important to forgive people around you who have done bad things to you. And the second thing is to really, the hardest part is forgiving yourself, I think, because we have to live with ourselves on a daily basis, and we just have to do that. Now, I do want to clear up some misconceptions about forgiveness as well, because I know where you're thinking. You're thinking, how can I forgive someone who has done really, really horrible things to me? And I'm going to say this. Forgiveness does not mean that it's okay for you to do bad things to me. It doesn't mean that you don't hold people accountable. It doesn't mean that you are going to now be a doormat and it's okay for people to walk all over you. None of that is forgiveness. Forgiveness simply means that you're releasing someone from you trying to retaliate against them all the time. It's something that I had to do a lot from my past as well. There's a reason why I'm in the work that I'm in, because I've experienced a lot of trauma in my past as well. I had to forgive. I really had to. And it's to really see and be empathetic towards that person. This is my opinion, my personal belief. I believe that everyone is inherently good, and bad things happen to people, which causes them to react a certain way and really to inflict pain on people in the most extreme way. I used to be a rape crisis counselor, so I have heard stories that will just completely shatter you, that will completely break your heart, that will make, the most incredible horror movie seem like it's nothing. And for me to really hear those stories and to really help them through forgiveness is absolutely painful for me too. So understanding that people who do inflict a lot of harm on people are wounded themselves. It's not something that is natural for us. So seeing the empathy in it, again, it doesn't mean that you're saying it's okay for them to do what they did to you, because it's not. It's definitely not okay. But really seeing the empathy and feeling that this person's also hurt. This person's also wounded. Something happened to them. Someone hurt them, and that's why they hurt me. Yes, it's not okay, but to really see the humanity in someone else's eyes is going to really help you forgive and let go of that person, even if that person is you. And the last part is this is like heavy, heavy shit that I'm talking about. The last part is find the humor in things. Okay, just have fun with it. Once you have really felt your past and you've healed from it, the second thing is like, really finding the empathy in the person that hurt you, even if that's you. And the third thing is just to laugh, just have a great time, and just it's such a great feeling. I didn't tell you guys this right now. So I'm recently divorced, and my God, was it an incredibly challenging experience for me, because a lot of my identity was tied to being a wife and to being someone who was in a long-term relationship. And now I'm different. And while I was going through it, was really hard. And one of the things that a lot of my friends did was to send me really hilarious pictures of themselves and of things, and just funny videos. And the funniest thing that someone said to me was one of my really close friends who's also divorced. And he's like, hey, welcome to the divorce club. I was feeling a little bit lonely. And honestly, that made me so happy, and it made me laugh so hard at a time that I really needed it. To finding the humor in things that cause you pain is hilarious. It's not about suppressing it. It's more to just, hey, if you don't laugh at it, what are you going to do, right? That's where I got it. So let me recap quickly, because I know I mentioned a lot of things in the last 15 minutes to heal emotional pain. So number one is to really feel it. Find 15 minutes, half an hour to sit and feel the trauma that you've gone through. Like, actually feel it. Don't suppress anything at all. And don't judge yourself if you're an ugly crier or you need to throw shit around. It's all good. The second thing is to forgive. So important. You have to forgive and let go and release the person, even if that person is you, your past person. And the third thing is to find the humor in things, because life is a lot better when you can laugh at things, including laughing at yourself. Okay, so at this point, I am going to head over to the chat. I think you guys are talking amongst each other, and I really, really want to read some of your comments. And beauty. I don't know why I'm whistling. It's the strangest fucking thing that I'm doing. Anyway, so we have Feel Good from Within. We got Brett. We got Tracy. Tracy, nice to see you. Skylar and friends. When I'm thinking, I made these weird shooting sounds with my voice. I don't know why. Hey Dave, nice to see you as well. Okay, who else? And Tap Potential. Okay, Melissa. Oh my gosh, darling, so nice to see you. What's Melissa talking about here? Beautifully said, Lily. We all have had experiences where we get the opportunity to grow emotionally and practice compassion. Letting go is freedom. Yes, absolutely true. Here, I do want to dispel certain things as well, though. If you are experiencing extreme trauma right now and something really horrible has happened to you, I want you to know that maybe some of the things I'm talking about right now might not make sense. And that's okay, because you're still early on in your stage. Because the worst thing that I can do, or anybody else can do, is to look at someone who's going through a lot of pain, or that they have experienced right at that moment, to look them in the eye and say, you know what, just get over it. Just get over it. It's fine. You're much better than this. You're going to grow, and it's going to be fine. That is a terrible thing to do. People have to really go through it, go through their own healing experiences. And the first thing I believe is to really just allow the emotions to just flow and feel it. Because if you don't deal with that, you're dealing with decades worth of crap, and you're holding on to that, and you're causing people pain, and you're creating your art from that place. I mean, there's beauty in releasing your pain, but the suppression is just, it's so destructive. And I've seen this so many times, and I don't want to see it anymore. That's why I'm doing this video. What else? Okay, untapped potential. So true. Self-forgiveness also leads to being able to forgive others as well. Yeah, it always has to start with us. Has to start with you. Has to start with me. It always has to start with us, because you can't give something that you don't have. So if you can't forgive yourself, you cannot forgive others. All right, my darlings, who else? We got Lulu in the house. Beautiful. Yeah, this is a heavy topic, and I think it's important to cover for me, because like I said, this is something that I never thought I would even work with my clients, because I started off as someone who wanted to help entrepreneurs and to really help their business grow. But if you're holding on to some kind of emotional pain from the past, your business is going to suffer. It's absolutely going to suffer, because your head needs to be in the game as an entrepreneur. Oh my goodness, you need to be like completely synchronized with your business and your mission and what it is that you're doing. And if your head is somewhere else, or you're holding on to some kind of hate or frustration or something, like, you just can't move forward. It is so important. And that's why I think it's important to cover this topic. Anyway, I probably will cover this topic in more detail, in a deeper fashion later on. I think it's very, very important to talk about this. And yeah, that's where I'm at. Anyways, guys, I do have to go. I have a coaching session in 10 minutes. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. I really want to make this a consistent thing. I've been all over the place myself. My head hasn't been in the game, because I had to kind of deal with certain personal things as well, which I feel like I have now, and I felt it, and I'm ready to move on. I do want to keep this 9:30 time slot. So so that way you guys know exactly when it is I'm on. So I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep it for 9:30 every single day, except for maybe the weekends, but we'll see. Okay. Have an amazing day, everyone. And remember, you're much bigger than the pain that you're going through, and you just have to face it. You just have to face it. That's all you have to do. You face it, forgive, and have a massive laugh, because that is so important. Okay, bye-bye, guys. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.